Hello, let's start with the data validation in Google Sheets. So in this video, we'll be covering up a data validation drop-down list, how to create a drop-down, how to add color combinations to the drop-downs to give a visualization effect, and how to check with the display style of the drop-down that we are creating. I'll be starting with a scenario for the HR department. So let's take a scenario where HR is doing a recruiting process. So what our list will contain? So first, let's consider a candidate of which the resume is being screened. So I'll write resume screening. Second thing, interview will be scheduled. Once the interview is scheduled and the candidate is selected, the offer letter will be given. As the candidate accepts the offer letter, the candidate will be onboarded. So, and will be given a joining date. So this is the list that I want in my drop down. Let's consider the column C. I have selected the entire column. Then I have clicked on data. At the bottom, there is a data validation option. So in the Google Sheets, the best thing is at the right side, you get a pop-up window where you can check the validation rules. So I'll click on add rule. As we have already selected the range, that is the entire column C from 1 to the 1000 cell, so it is showing us the range. If we want to reduce the range and select only first 10, we can just edit it over here or select again the range. So I'll just remove this and select the range. So it will ask me how many cells do I want to add. I have added 13 cells and I've clicked on OK. So this is the criteria where I'll be adding the drop down. Okay. So I'll select from drop down from a range. So over here again it will ask me the range where I have already mentioned the data that needs to be in the list. So I'll click over here and I'll select my list. So this is the list and I'll click on OK. So once we select the range, it automatically detects the data in the cell and creates like the four of the list. So it is showing me resume screening, interview scheduled, offer letter, joining date. If I click on done, the rule will be applied and it will show a chip format. But as I mentioned, we also want a visualization color combination with date list. So what we can do is we'll click on the circle option. I'll select as resume for blue color. Let's select interview schedule in green. Offer letter given in red and joining date given in yellow. Okay, over here, the yellow color seems like a bit of dull to me. Let's get into customization. So the text I want it to be in the black color. So I have selected text and the color is black for me. The background I want it to be highlighted that the candidate will be joining on this particular date. So I'll just go and select the extreme yellow color and click on OK. So the yellow color has been changed. And now I'll click on advanced options. So the display style. So in the Microsoft Excel 365 that you usually use, there was an option of an arrow that used to come. So this is how it will display if you click on arrow. The traditional formatting, but if you go for a chip format, it will give you a chip. So if I click on resume screening, it will come in blue, interview scheduled in green, offer letter in red, and joining date in yellow. So, okay. This is the if the data is invalid, the Excel shows you two options whether you want the data to be inputted or you want to reject the data. So for now, I have added as reject the input and I'm clicking on done with the rule. So this is how my data validation rule is added. I'll just close the screen. I'll put a data over here apart from my list. So I'll just add back out of the candidate and I'll enter. It will give me a rejection that I'm violating the data validation rule and I need to select from the drop down list. I'll click OK. Now let's create one more data validation drop down list in the column E. I'll select the entire column E. I'll go to the data validation option. It already shows me that one rule in this sheet has been already added. So if I want one more new rule, what I'll do is I'll go and add rule. Over here, first we selected drop down from a range. Now we'll just select the drop down option, add the data that we want. Rather than maintaining a list and creating a drop down, I'll just put whatever I want to in this list. So I'll just mention that the candidate has joined. Second option is I want to add if the candidate has back out. I'll select join in, let's say, green color, backed out in red. In the advanced option, now we'll just try with show a warning and the display style is arrow and I'll just enter as done. So for my entire E column, the drop down list has been created. Close. We'll check the difference. If the display style is cheap, it shows as, and if it is arrows, it gives you a drop down in the traditional way. So I'll select join. It is giving me as green color for the entire cell. If I select back out, it gives the entire red color in for the cell. Now we have selected a warning as just to give like a warning option that you have not selected from the particular drop down list the data. So I'll just add here as not responding and I'll click on enter. So now over here there is a small red color option mentioning as invalid, that the data input should be from the item on the specified list, but it is still taking up the data. Okay, so I hope you understood how to create a data validation list and to give the color combinations to the list. Yes, thank you.